Hello, dear students. I hope you are all fine and in good health. In my previous audio presentation, I left up to this part, thus agreed together they lifted the man. That means both Sadao and Hana. They decided finally, after a lot of dilemma, after a lot of discussion, finally they both decided to take the American prisoner of war who is mortally wounded. They decided to take him to their house and they decided to nurse him back to health. So let us continue. I am again repeating that line where I left in my previous audio presentation. Thus agreed, together they lifted the man. Together, Hana and Sadao, they lifted the American prisoner of war. He was very light. His weight, considering his weight, he was very light in weight. Lightweight, we can say, like a fowl, a male chicken, like a fowl that had been half starved for a long time until it is only feathers and skeleton. Now it seems that the prisoner, the man, he is wounded as already been suggested to us. Now he is very lightweight, is almost like a fowl, and the fowl that had been half starved for a long time until it is only feathers and skeleton. That means, considering the physical structure of this man, it seems that this man is extremely weak. Not only extremely weak, the man is very thin also. So his arms hanging, they carried him up the steps and into the side door of the house. Slowly and slowly, they entered, carrying the man by the side door of the house. This door opened into a passage. Maybe the passage is a bit narrow passage, and down the passage they carried the man towards an empty bedroom. Now they walked along with that mortally wounded man and they move him towards an empty bedroom. Now this bedroom actually belonged to Sadao's father. It had been the bedroom of Sadao's father. Just now I told you all, dear students, about it. And since his death, it had not been used. So this room was kept vacant. And after the death of Sadao's father, it was not used at all. They laid the man on the deeply matted floor. Everything here had been Japanese to please the old man because Sadao's father was very orthodox and he never ever promoted any sort of westernized setting. So, this room, everything here in this room is Japanese, or we can say it is a very traditional room, Japanese room. Everything here had been Japanese to please the old man, who would never in his own home sit on a chair or sleep in a foreign bed. So Sadao's father never ever had sat on a chair or had used a foreign bed. Never ever he did that. Hana went to the wall cupboards and slid back a door and took out a soft quilt. So a soft blanket was taken out by Hana from the nearby cupboard. She hesitated. The quilt was covered with flowered silk and the lining was pure white silk. The blanket, it was beautifully decorated with flowers. And Hana hesitated. Hana was reluctant a bit because this man was about to bleed once again. This man is terribly injured, as we know. So She was a bit reluctant because it might damage the blanket, or rather to say, it might spoil the entire quilt. The quilt was covered with flowered silk and the lining was pure white silk. He is so dirty, she murmured in distress. Yes, he had better be washed, Sadao agreed. If you will fetch hot water, I will wash him. So if you can, Sadao told Hana that if you can fetch some hot water, then I can start the nursing process. I can wash him then. Because he is wounded, he had to be washed first. And for that reason, I need some hot water. I cannot bear for you to touch him, she said. We shall have to tell the servants he is here. I will tell Yumi. Yumi is actually the babysitter. So I will tell Yumi now. She can leave the children for a few minutes and she can wash him. So Hana told Sadao that I won't allow you to do the washing of this man. I will tell Hana. Hana, as I told right now, she is the babysitter, that she can do the needful. But as you know, that Hana will disagree because this man is a foreigner, and most importantly, this man is an American enemy. That is the main thing. So let's see what happens after this. Sadao considered a moment. Let it be so, he agreed. You tell Yumi and I will tell the others. Okay, fine. Sadao told Hana that okay, fine, you tell Yumi, whereas I will tell the others. But the utter pallor of the man's unconscious face moved him first to stoop and feel his pulse. But this man is very weak and he looks like a dead man, and there was a bit of white paleness on his face. Sadao bent a bit. Stoop means to bend. Sadao bent a bit and felt the pulse of the man, whether he is dead or whether he is still alive, in order to know that. It was faint. It was faint means the pulse rate was faint, but it was there. He put his hand against the man's cold breast. The heart too was yet alive. The heart was also beating, but it is not normal beating. So, but it is still beating a bit. And the pulse rate is faint, but still the pulse can be felt. This man is extremely weak, and as far as Sadao's diagnosis is concerned, he had to be operated very soon if there is any possibility to save this man. So let me continue. He will die unless he is operated on. So this is the diagnosis of Sadao. He told Hana that this man had to be operated if there is any possibility of saving him. Sadao said, the question is whether he will not die anyway. Now the question is whether he will not die, because maybe after the operation also, who knows, this man might die. But at least a try or an attempt can be made to save this patient, because that is the first and foremost duty of a doctor, to try till the very end to save the life of a patient. So let me continue. Hana cried out in fear, don't try to save him. What if he should live? Now Hana told Sadao that don't try to save him. What is the necessary to save him? What if he should die? Sadao replied. He stood gazing down on the motionless man. This man must have extraordinary vitality, extraordinary energy, strength, or he would have been dead by now. Now Sadao and Hana, they were still discussing a bit, and Hana was not at all interested to see Sadao saving this man. Sadao, on the other hand, told Hana that this man had extraordinary strength in him. Otherwise, he would have died by now. but still this man is alive. But then he was very young, perhaps not yet 25. This man is very young. He is not yet 25 also. You mean die from the operation? Hannah asked. Yes, Sadao said. Hannah considered this doubtfully, and when she did not answer, Sadao turned away. At any rate, something must be done with him, he said, and first he must be washed. He went quickly out of the room, and Hannah came behind him. She did not wish to be left alone with the white man. Now, Sadao, first and foremost thing that Sadao told Hannah that before the medical procedure be started, uh, he should be washed immediately. And after saying that, Sadao went out of the room. Hannah was also eager to follow him because he was feeling uncomfortable to stay in a room with a white man, a foreigner. He was the first she had seen since she left America. Now, this is the first time after a long time or after a few years that she saw an American. When she was in America, that time she saw many American students, many American citizens, but this is after a long time she saw an American. So let me continue. He was the first she had seen since she left America, and now he seemed to have nothing to do with those whom she had known there. Here, he was her enemy, a menace, living or dead. Now, the important thing is that it never matters what exactly was her experience back in America. Maybe at that time he had a good experience. He met, interacted with many Americans, but now at this present juncture, this man is her enemy. Whether dead or alive, he is a threat, he is a menace. She turned to the nursery and called Yumi. But the children heard her voice, and she had to go in for a moment and smile at them and play with the baby boy, now nearly 3 months old. Two children they had. The, the younger one is almost 3 months old. So she went to their bedroom. Yumi was in charge of them. Yumi was the babysitter, as I already told you all. Now she will request Yumi to wash this white man. Over the baby's soft black hair, she motioned with her mouth. Yumi, come with me. She did. She gave an instruction to Yumi. I will put the baby to bed, Yumi replied. He is ready. She went with Yumi into the bedroom next to the nursery and stood with the boy in her arms while Yumi spread the sleeping quills on the floor and laid the baby between them. So the baby was put to sleep. Then Hannah led the way quickly and softly to the kitchen. The two servants were frightened at what their master had just told them. So, when she moved to the kitchen room, at that time the servants were frightened. Their body language seemed that they were very much frightened because already Sadao from his part interacted the entire situation with them and told them about the stranger whom he and his wife had brought. The stranger, that is the American prisoner of war, he is mortally wounded. That means the servants were already been informed about it. The old gardener. Now, this old gardener was in the house of Sadao from the time when Sadao was a small kid. So, I repeat, the old gardener, who was also a house servant, pulled the few hairs on his upper lip. So, this old gardener started pulling some of the hairs on his upper lip because he is very, very tensed. The master ought not to heal the wound of this white man. The master refers to Sadao, and he is also against the treatment of this man. He said bluntly to Hannah. Now he interacted with Hannah and told Hannah that Sadao should have kept him there only, shouldn't have uh, taken him from that place to the house, and he should not save him at all. So I repeat one more time, the master ought not to heal the wound of this white man. He said bluntly to Hannah. Very frankly, he told, the white man ought to die. First he was shot, then the sea caught him and wounded him with her rocks. If the master heals what the gun did and what the sea did, they will take revenge on us. It's all superstitious mentality of the old gardener is reflected. What he is trying to say to Hannah that this man was shot already. He also got the information from Sadao, and nature was also against his survival because the sea had wounded him with her rocks. Now, if Sadao went against the tide or against the flow of nature, then it seems that in due course of time, Sadao might be in big trouble because then nature would take revenge on him. I will tell him what they say, Hannah replied courteously, but she herself was also frightened, although she was not superstitious as the old man was. Now, Hannah assured him that he would definitely give his message to Sadao, but Hannah, despite he was a bit anxious, despite she was a bit frightened, but she was not superstitious or backdated in her mentality like her servant. Could it ever be well to help an enemy? Nevertheless, she told Yumi to fetch the hot water and bring it to the room where the white man was. Now the dilemma was still, it was still persisted in her mind that is it okay to help the enemy? Nevertheless, she told Yumi to fetch some hot water and bring it to the room where the white man was lying. She went ahead and slid back the partitions. Sadao was not yet there. Maybe Sadao was busy bringing the medical kit from his study room. Yumi, following, put down her wooden bucket. Then she went over to the white man. When she saw him, her thick lips folded themselves into stubbornness. Now, Yumi at first agreed and as been instructed by her mistress Hannah, she brought a wooden bucket also, and but when she saw the face of the wounded man, she retorted. She was stubborn, she grew adamant, and she was not at all interested to do the nursing, or rather to say, she was not interested to wash the wounded man. I have never washed a white man, she said, and I will not wash so dirty a one now. So she told Hannah, she went against Hannah, and she told Hannah that I haven't washed a white man, and I won't wash a dirty man like this. Hannah cried at her severely. Severely means in a very strict manner, in a very stern manner. You will do what your master commands you. Obviously, you will do what you are being commanded because you are the servant. There was so fierce a look of resistance upon Yumi's round, dull face that Hannah felt unreasonably afraid. After all, if the servant should report something that was not as it happened. Now, Yumi looked back at her angrily, and looking at the angry face of Yumi, Hannah was scared because who knows, they might go outside and they might report the situation in a different way. Maybe their version might be different than her husband and she, they both might be in trouble. So she pressurized Yumi at the very beginning, but after looking the angry face of Yumi, she decided to hold back whatever she told her previously. Very well, she said with dignity. You understand, we only want to bring him to his senses so that we can turn him over as a prisoner. Hana requested Yumi in a very polite manner, though she got a bit angry previously while Yumi disobeyed her, and she told Yumi that their only intention there means her and her husband's only intention was to nurse this mortally wounded man back to normal health, and after this man will be fit medically and will be healed a bit and will be stable, then they will give him back to the Japanese police officials so that he might be arrested. I will have nothing to do with it, Yumi said. I am a poor person and it is not my business. No, I have nothing to do with that. I am a poor person and it is not my business. So Yumi was totally reluctant, totally unwilling to do it. Then please, Hana said gently, return to your own work. Okay, then it is better you return to your own work. At once, Yumi left the room, but this left Hana with the white man because Yumi decided not to. Uh, Yumi decided not to work, and work here means not to wash this man. Now there was no other option left for Hana, and so she decided to leave Yumi and asked her to go to the children room, to the nursery, and again she was alone with the white man. At once, Yumi left the room. That means without wasting any more time, immediately, at once, instantly, you can say, dear students, immediately also you can say, Yumi left the room. But this left Hana with the white man alone. Now Hana is with the white man alone. She might have been too afraid to stay had not her anger at Yumi's stubbornness now sustained her. Now she would have went out from that place, but when she looked at this mortally wounded man, when she looked at this mortally wounded man, she felt at the back of her mind, she felt a bit of compassion. She felt a bit of sympathy for this man. Stupid Yumi, she muttered fiercely. Is this anything but a man and a wounded, helpless man? She could have done this. That is what Hana was thinking, because this man is mortally wounded, and most importantly, this man is totally helpless. In the conviction of her own superiority, she bent impulsively and untied the knotted rugs that kept the white man covered. That means slowly and slowly, Hana went on undressing the upper portion of this man. When she had his breast bare, she dipped the small clean towel that Yumi had brought into the steaming hot water and washed his face carefully. The man's skin, though rough with exposure, was of a fine texture and must have been very blond when he was a child. The skin might be rough as been felt by Hana when he went on washing the breast part or the upper part or the chest part of the man, and she felt that the skin was of fine texture and probably it must have been very blonde, or he must have been very blonde when he was a child. That means Yumi went out and there was no other option left for Hana. Hana felt a bit of sympathy and also a bit of compassion for this mortally wounded, helpless man and decided to wash him, or rather to say, first he undressed the upper part of the body of this mortally wounded helpless man, and then he went on cleaning his chest or breast part or the upper part of his body. And at that time she felt that the skin of this man, though it is now very much rugged and rough because of exposure, outside exposure, but it was of a fine texture, and it must have been very blonde when he was a child. His hair or his outer appearance, he must have been blonde when he was a child. He means this man must have been a blonde one when he was a child. That means Hana is now doing the washing all by herself, and Sadao haven't entered yet. He is in his study room. He is arranging the operation instruments that he needed, the medical kit bag, and after that he will enter into the room. So dear students, I stop here in this audio presentation. It is the end of page number 31 as far as the text is concerned. I will be continuing with page number 32 in my next audio presentation. Till then, kindly listen to this audio presentation. It's like a revision to you because previously you already did enemy. It's a revision for you all. And if there is any confusion anywhere, do let me ask about it. Thank you, students. Thank you all.